Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Design with Debbie. We are in our 11th week of doing these Design with Debbie classes. Hi, Julie. I'm going to just give it a couple seconds for everybody to chime in. Okay, we're going to get started. I'm trying to decide if I want to show you guys the project ahead of time or keep it for a little bit later. I know you're all intrigued as to what I'm going to be doing with the lunch paper bag. Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoy all the Facebook posts, Julie. Hi, Jill. Hi, Diane. Hi, Jan. Hi, Patricia. Welcome, everyone. So tonight I'm going to be using the Coffee Cafe stamp set. If you don't have this one, anything would work that would fit inside the oval that we're going to cut. So if you decide as we're going along that you don't have what's needed, you can add whatever I put inside later. So let me put this aside. I'm going to go over all of the supplies first, just to keep the surprise, and then I'll show you guys what we're making. I'm using the Pretty Label Punch, the paper bag, a scrap piece of Whisper White. This is going to be for stamping and die cutting. Berry Burst. Now what's great about this, all I did was take an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock and I cut it in half to get 2 pieces. And we're going to use these 2 pieces. So these measure 8.5 by 5.5. The designer paper Color Theory. These are 6 by 6 and we're going to cut them to measure 5 3/4 by 5. Whisper White 6 by 5 1/4. So let me put all of this stuff aside. I'm using the glitter Enamel Dots. These are retiring, so I'm trying to use up what I have before they're gone on May 31st. I have a piece of the Berry Burst crinkle ribbon. This is about 20 inches long. And then for dies, I'm using the largest oval from the Layering Ovals, the Coffee Cafe dies, the cup, and then the lid, and then the Celebrate You. And the same thing with this. If you guys don't have this, you can use something else after you see what I do with it. And lastly, Stamping Dimensionals and Berry Burst ink. Okay, I'm going to show you what we're going to make. We're actually going to use the bag between all of these cardstock layers and make a gift bag. See how easy that looks? It's really not complicated at all. If you need a gift bag quick, you don't have one on hand, this is a great way to make one. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is cut the paper bag at 5.5 inches. And because this is paper, I'm going to set my blade right in the center and go out and out. That way I don't rip the paper. And just a reminder that I do have people stamping with me, so I do go a little bit slower to make sure that they can catch up with me. Now I am going to open this and we're going to fold the 2 ends together to make it flat. This will help us when we glue the cardstock. I'm just going to turn it over, make sure everything's nice and flat. So this is what your bag should look like after you fold it. Okay, we're going to put this aside for now. I'm going to bring in the 2 Berry Burst. You guys might not be using the same color too. I gave you a list of stuff you needed and you could coordinate it the way you wanted. Now I'm going to bring in the white. So you can go ahead and glue the 2 white pieces. Now let me show you what I did. The front is decorated and then the back, I just left it like this. If you want to do both sides, that's up to you. But I felt one side was plenty. So we're going to measure this from the bottom, make sure all 3 sides are equal. Same thing with the next one. The reason I did a bag tonight, I just thought we've been making cards for 10 weeks now, and I thought maybe changing it up a little bit by making a 3D item. I do like creating 3D items. Okay, that's it for that. Now I'm going to bring in my paper cutter and cut down the designer paper. It's going to be 5 inches wide. And then I'm using one of these little strips that I cut off to make the lid of the coffee cup so it coordinates with the designer paper. You guys probably didn't notice that, but I thought that was neat. No stamping on that one. Okay, so we're going to cut both of these at 5 inches. And then 5 3/4 inches wide. So that means we're going to cut off 1/4 inch. If you are anal like I am, I want both of my ends to be the same. So I'm going to cut off 1/8 inch on one side and 1/8 inch on the other side. That way both of your ends are equal. We'll do the same thing with this one. Okay, I'm going to pause just for a little bit to make sure everybody's caught up. So for those of you guys that are demonstrators, did you place your pre-order today? I was so excited to get up this morning and to be able to order from the new catalog. For those of you that are customers, we as demonstrators can order 30 days before you guys do. So we were given a list to pick from. It was pretty exciting. Okay, now we're going to glue the designer paper. Now, because I have a lot of the berry burst up top, I'm going to put the lighter end up top. I just feel that that's too close in color. So by flipping it over to the lighter part, it stands out more. Just these little things that you have to think about as you're setting up your project. Oh, I see a lot of you guys have ordered today. That's good. Okay, now I'm going to flip this back to back. Make sure they're even. We're using the punch to create our handle. So if you don't have this punch, any punch that you feel is big enough to create the handle. And I'm kind of centering it. Whoops, and it does go through both layers, but if you have a hard time with the punches, you might want to do one at a time. I just wanted to make sure they were in the same spot, so I sent my cardstock flying when I cut it. Now we have 2 of these. One you can put aside to use for another project. This one we're going to use in front of the cup. So let's put all of this aside and get the stamping done. Let me just put some stuff away while I wait for everybody to catch up. I'll bring out my ink pad. We're also going to need the aqua painter. And then we're going to need all of the dies for the cutting. Now what I did with the cup is I stamped it, and then I just added a little bit of ink on the outside edges with the aqua painter, just to give it a little bit of detail. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. And sometimes you may not even to use what's in the inkwell. You can use the lines, depending on how wet. I am going to use a little bit. Depending on how wet your aqua painter is. I need to squeeze that a little bit to get it wet. There we go. And that's all I do for this. I just add a little bit of, it's like adding a little bit of shading to your project. And when it dries a little bit lighter than what you see. Okay, and that's all I'm going to do there. So that's it for the ink today. Very little inking. Now I'm going to bring in my Big Shot. And we're going to cut a couple things at the same time. I've got the oval. Let me bring that down a little bit. I've got the cup. I'm going to do these two first. So there's my cup and my oval. Now, depending on your Big Shot, with mine, I have a little bit of a hard time cutting the detail dies. So what I do is I add a piece of designer paper cardboard. I cut this 6x6 and I wrote shim on it. It just gives a little bit more pressure on your Big Shot. And then I usually go forward and backward. And my last piece is going to be the little piece for the coffee cup. And again, I'm going to make sure that this is lined up the same on each side. When we're done cutting, we've got the coffee cup top, the coffee cup, the oval, and then the two die cuts. Okay, let me just get rid of my Big Shot. Now, let me bring this one here so you guys can see what we're doing. So now we're going to go ahead and glue the bag in place. So I'm going to add glue around all four sides. I'm going to add quite a bit of adhesive because I don't want this to move on me. And then I'm just going to center that. And I'm leaving a little tiny space on the bottom. So you can see I just have about 1/8 of an inch there around the whole thing. Whoops, wait a minute. There we go. Now I want this to lay nice and flat. So what I'm going to do is line up the two bottom edges together and then just press down. And that's it. That's how you glue your bag in there. Isn't that neat? And then it opens up. You can open up the bottom fully and then close it this way, or you can open up the whole thing. So you can fit quite a bit in there, as you can see. It really makes a nice gift bag. So now let's go ahead and glue all of the other layers. So I'm going to glue the oval in place. And then the coffee cup. I'm using Stampin' Dimensionals. Hi, Kim. I know you always chime in at the end and you do the replay. And I know a lot of you guys like to watch first and create later, and that's fine. I just love seeing everybody's projects when you load them to my page. I'm going to share last week's project soon too. I haven't had a chance to put them up yet. I had quite a few participants last week. I think I had three live classes, so you guys had a lot to pick from as far as participation. Okay, there's the top of my coffee cup. I'm just going to add glue in the center of this label. So you see what I did here? I repurposed one of the punches that we punched out and put it down here. Remember, us stampers, we don't like to waste. I lost one of my letters. Here it is. So I'm anxious to see what you guys come up with if you don't have the same stamp set or the same dies. Okay, and that goes right in the center. I just have to punch out my little G here. And I'm so glad that these dies carried over from Celebration. They were quite popular. And now you guys can purchase them if you didn't earn them. Just like the basket weave embossing folder during Celebration, you guys will be able to purchase that also. Okay, and that goes up here. Oh, I just messed up there. I'll have to erase some of this glue. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the Enamel Dots. I get glue all over my finger. And I'm using the Tone on Tone. Let me go with a lighter one down here. I'm going to miss these glitter dots. What I liked about them is even though the color wasn't the exact color, it kind of blended in anyway, so you could match it up with different colors. And then all we have left to do is to add the ribbon at the top. So as you can see, this is not that bad to make. It's a really quick project. And yes, you could use the tear and tape, because I actually use the fast fuse, and this is no longer going to be available after May 31st. So the tear and tape would be my next choice, only because you have so much movement opening and closing that I'd rather use a glue that's pretty aggressive. So there's my two bags. So let me open this one. It's hard to show you the 3D, so let me put it this way so you can see it this way. So please, if you guys make some of these, please add your pictures in the comments section. I would love to see what you guys make. And I hope you like this project. Hope you'll try it. Oh, I wanted to show you one more thing in case you missed my video from last night. On Sunday, one of my viewers asked if I would show you how to make a never-ending card. I've showed this a couple times so far. This is a never-ending card. It's flat, but once you start opening it, it never ends. So you open this 4 times to get back to the beginning position. So let me do this again. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you open one more time to bring it back to the starting position. Isn't that neat? So I'm probably not going to do the whole card as far as decorating the inside and the front, but I'm going to show you how to do the fold. And I will be on, I'm going to try to do Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern time if everything goes well. So you guys are welcome to come watch. So thanks for stopping in tonight.